Yes, guys. Hello and welcome back to the SpursRelated YouTube channel and podcast. I hope everyone's doing very well this Sunday evening. A bit of a, what should we say, not sporadic, a bit of a live out of the blue. I've forgotten the word, but we'll carry on. 30 of you already in here. I'm sure the numbers will grow, but you guys all know what we're talking about today. It's in the title. It's in the thumbnail. That is Manor Solomon has joined Tottenham Hotspur from Fulham. Israeli left winger from Fulham. Quick player, tricky. We'll get into all his stats and all his characteristics if you guys don't know about him. But if you're watching this video now and you want to help keep supporting this channel, smash the thumbs up and subscribe if you're new. There's already 50 of you in here and the numbers are growing. Absolutely love the support. We're very, very grateful. But Andre, very quickly, mate, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. This was so out of the blue. I was literally just eating my meal and all of a sudden my phone buzzed. Here we go. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I look at it. I see this is a guy that I think we've done one post on last month that we were like slightly interested in him because of, I guess, sort of the way the things have aligned, right? He's free agent from Shakhtar Donetsk who was given the permission to go on loan because of all the things going on in Ukraine. And we were just slightly interested in him, and now here we are. We've signed him just out of the blue, 4-year contract.
Here we are, exactly that, 4 years as just announced by Charlie Eccleshare. Unbelievable stuff. A lot of people may not have heard of him. There's guys in the chat that haven't heard of him. We can hopefully clear some things up about him. Just quickly, not even just saying this because he's joined. Every time I watched Fulham last year, he was one of the players out of maybe 2 or 3 that impressed me a lot, along with Paulinia, the CDM, and actually Harry Wilson had a good end to the year as well. But Manor Solomon of previously Shakhtar Donetsk, like you said, Andre, and now was at Fulham, and we've somehow got him like out of the blue, like no one expected it. We'll obviously get through some stats and stuff. I'll quickly welcome in and everyone that is already watching. The numbers are crazy. The numbers are growing. We really do appreciate it. But Felix was in here first. Big yourself up, Felix. Stu's in here. Big up, Stu. Carl's saying big up. What is going on with Spurs? We can't stop signing players. Exactly that. Vincent is saying follow him. Big up, Vincent. Thanks for coming over. Manor Solomon, the GOAT, says knitting. Mark Cousins is in here. He says never heard of him, so I'm here for education. We hopefully will clear some things up in the next half an hour for you guys. Cade Mads in here says I always saw him on FIFA career mode and looked decent stats wise. Exactly, that's always a good thing. Cratch is in here saying big up, mate. Leon's in here, big up, mate. Nice to see you. Silver Surfer, always good to see you. For some reason my comments aren't working. There we go. And Knitting saying fast, agile, and with amazing dribbling. Exactly that. You can cause a lot of damage on the wings. And don't forget, guys, this guy is not a starter. It's going to be great as backup on the bench. For Sonny, of course, at left wing. And maybe Solomon can play on the right as well. We'll get all into those little bits of detail as well. But I'm going to quickly flip over back to Andre, who will quickly just clear up how we're doing on this shopping list right now that we announced recently that was the goal for Spurs by the end of August, and we're just entering July, and it looks like we've ticked a few off, Andre.
Yeah, it's actually really crazy to think that we are almost done the shopping list. Not to mention that these are the guys that we're trying to bring in. We're not even mentioning the people that we've signed permanently that we already had at the club, right? We had Kulusevski and today Porro as well, which we'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, 3 ticked off, 1 more to go with the 2 center backs, which I really do hope that we signed both of the center backs that we've been linked to, because that is a priority signing. But you know what? Like we always say, right? You don't want to miss the boat. If you get an opportunity to sign a player that you want or that Postecoglou wants, you get him. And now the young left winger spot has been ticked off, and we have ourselves a young left winger, 23 years old, about to turn 24 this year. He's got some good experience in the Champions League as well when he's played with Shakhtar Donetsk. He's in the last 2 seasons with them. I believe he scored 4 goals and 2 assists from 26 matches. And then he also scored 2 goals in the Champions League in the season before that with 35 matches, scoring 11 goals in total with 1 assist. With Fulham, though, we got 24 matches, 5 goals, 87% pass completion rate, 84% tackle success. Those are some pretty good stats.
100%. Very good stats. A bit more details just come up literally from Fabrizio Romano. So if you're 8 minutes in watching offline, or if you're even watching live right now, as 60 of you are, a bit of news. So I just said it was a 4-year deal as per Charlie Eccleshare and a couple of other sources. Fabrizio Romano has just said Manor Solomon will sign on a 5-year deal valid until June 2028 as a Tottenham player next week. Medical tests are booked on Tuesday as revealed, and deal completed by super agent Pinny Zahavi. So there's a bit more detail. And just to go quickly back over the full details, we briefly mentioned deal has been in place. His medical tests have been scheduled in for next week. Solomon has agreed personal terms. He's joining Spurs as a free agent if all goes to plan with Shakhtar and the FIFA rules. So there may be a bit of a legality thing here in terms of, obviously, I believe Fulham got a little bit funny about this because technically we're going to be signing him on a free, and there was some term in the contract there, but it looks like it was all good to go. I know there was a bit of because we talked about Solomon a few weeks ago and then it all went quiet, didn't it, Andre? And then suddenly tonight, out of the blue, here we go from Fabrizio Romano. So clearly they'd solved that legal issue. And apparently Shakhtar might sue Spurs or something like that, as Felix is saying. So I feel like we haven't heard the end of this. Big up, Finn. Nice to see you, mate. Oladi said good signing for Postecoglou. Gagetta, always good to see you, mate. Big up. Finn saying first Israeli since Ronnie Rosenthal. I think it is. Madzi saying I really hope we get Tapsoba and VDV done now with everything else. Absolutely. Jimmy Costco, big yourself up. He's saying once again, this club never fails to let us down. Back up cheaper keeper. That's a tongue twister. We need centre backs and we need a 6 to replace Højbjerg. What do Spurs do? To be honest, Jimmy, normally I'm on that boat, right? But actually, this is sensible business from Tottenham because it's a backup winger that's actually a very decent player. We've clearly done well to get him on a free because he's not just a free player. And we're going to need the centre-backs, of course. You know, that's the hole in this. We'll go back to this quickly. This is the hole, the 2 centre-backs. And I'm sure we will get this done. And I think we'll hear a lot more about Van der Ven this coming week. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. Nitin thinks it's an upgrade on Lucas, and I would probably agree at this stage as well. But Andre, should we talk a little bit about the stats?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the stats are good. He has he has Champions League experience, which is good to hear because, you know, obviously, and Premier League experience as well. This is basically the perfect guy you want to bring in, who's going to be happy with being on the bench and coming on whenever he's needed. It's nice. It's very good to see that for once we're going to have an actual player who's going to come in whenever Son needs some rest. It's never good to feel, even though you might be the best player in the world, it's never good to hear that you can never rest because if you're injured or you're tired, there's no one to replace you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So for me, it seems like that's the case. In terms of the player himself, I mean, it's a natural left winger. He's right-footed, pretty tall as well. So if he needs to get in the box, he'll be able to head the ball in. And like I read those stats a little earlier, I mean, they look good to me in general. You know, I think that I'm very excited to see what he can do in Tottenham. And again, Postecoglou, if he wants him and he feels like he fits in the system, then yeah, do it.
Exactly. So we've obviously talked about a few of the stats. We've talked about sort of where he's normally going to be playing, left wing. We've talked about sort of how he is as a player. Obviously, we can't show you any footage, guys, as much as we want to show you some footage now on screen. But Andre, what else should people know about Manor Solomon for those that may not know about him in terms of maybe, does he have any other preferred positions? Does he have what are his former clubs? What should we be expecting of Manor Solomon when we obviously get him in officially next week?
Yeah, well, the thing is, right, Manor Solomon, he is 23, turning 24. It's not like he's got all this experience, all these clubs behind him. He's only got Shakhtar Donetsk, and then unfortunately, because of what's happening between Ukraine and Russia, he's had this FIFA sort of allowed this rule for all these players to go out on loan. And that's why he's had the Premier League experience that he's had at Fulham. And clearly Tottenham has really seen what he can do and has decided to bring him in. He's pacey. He dribbles a lot and basically plays exactly like Son would. So I'm pretty excited to see what he can do on that end. But again, the idea that he's tall as well, that's the very interesting thing to see, because most of our wingers aren't that tall. So
Yep.
in a way, it's a very interesting, even tactically speaking, based on what you want to do with your wingers, he brings something else to the table.
Yeah, 100%. Madsy's saying, do you think we'll sign anyone on loan? I think we will sign one player on loan, and I think it may be a centre-back that may come in quite late, because I think we'll get one of our choices of Tapsoba or Van der Ven, and then I think we'll be looking at a loan player potentially in the form of, like we did last year with Longley coming in from Barcelona, or we will get a backup on a permanent. I think that's the position where we may get a loan. Personally, I can't see us getting maybe a lone fullback, because obviously it depends what happens with Reguilon as well. You've got to remember Reguilon's come back. Not too sure what he's coming in there, but I would honestly say that it's one of those ones where you've got to see what happens for the rest of the window. Andre, someone's digging you out in the chat about his height. He's 5'7". So
5'7", 1.70.
That's not tall, mate. That's not tall.
Oh my god! You know what?
Yeah, hold your hands up there, mate. Stu
All
saying,
right,
cheer up, Jimbo. What happened last year? Month day has gone. This era is proving different. Plus, Dyer deserves a look at by Ange, as do all our players. By the way, Sean, spot on with your stats there as always, guys. If you're not subbed to Spurs Talk Show, I'm sure you all are. But if you're not, there's 80 of you in here. Go and check out Sean as well. It's a fantastic channel. And Sean, I did send you a little message earlier, mate, so have a little look. But Drew Zilla's saying, if we haven't signed anyone by August 1st, then he's going to be worried. I would be worried, certainly centre-back wise. Mark Cousins has said, is all this money being splashed? Well, Mark, one thing is that this is a free transfer, and actually Solomon is worth 18 million euros market value. So we've technically saved 18 million euros there, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, and there we go. Lynch says I wouldn't say he's 30 million. I'd say he's probably more like a 20 million asset, and we've got him on a free. So even if he doesn't turn out well this year, don't forget we can sell him on for 70 million pounds. 70 million. I'm getting as bad as Andre. 20 million pounds we could sell him on for. So this is actually sensible business here. Another thing, video is saying Tapsoba very close. As per my sources, I don't think he's close yet, but let's see. You never know. Maybe we'll go for both after the clear out. Sanchez is already out the door. Exactly. Let's see what happens. But guys, there is 70 of you watching on YouTube now, maybe 75. There is 31 likes. Can we get to 50? If everyone here smashes the thumbs up, we can do that in about 5 seconds, and we can carry on this stream as it's going so well so far. But Drew Sill is saying saving that money for Paulinho. Maybe we'll get linked with Paulinho again. Sean did a video on Paulinho, and he is one of the other players from Fulham that I am genuinely excited about. Tall, physical, loves getting stuck in, not afraid to win the ball. And I think in this Ange system, we're going to need another another CDM, centre defensive mid, that is solid, especially with Højbjerg potentially being off. Frees up some room in the midfield roster. Felix is saying, I like how assigning a young promising players, but also balancing with experienced players like Maddison. Exactly that. Guys, I will keep putting your comments in. I will bring them up, but we'll take a little break with the comments now. But if you do want to steer the way this live stream goes, there is a button on the bottom on your chat. I think it's a little $sign or something. It's a super chat, and you can donate for $1.99 and really help the setup of this stream, help us fund towards better guests and everything else, and really support the channel. And it's $1.99, and you can literally steer the way this channel goes in terms of this video. Now you can ask us a question. You can ask to put a poll in the chat if you guys want to see what the 100 or so people are watching are thinking about Solomon. you guys can come up with any creative ideas. So the super chat option is there, but we know that times are tough at the moment, so we're not expecting it at all. So don't feel pressured to do that. But I'm just letting you guys know that if you want us to bring your chat up straight away, that feature is there. But Andre, let's talk a little bit more about quickly go back over to Porro, and then we'll come back to Solomon. But there was some details about Porro today, wasn't there?
Yeah, we actually triggered the permanent buy of Porro. It was an obligation to buy, right? It was with an initial loan, 40 million euros for Porro, and yeah, now he is now our player 100%. And what I really liked to see was, I guess, what he had to say, and which was that he was very excited to be here. It was quite a transition. And more than anything, James, he has Dyer to thank for all the help he gave him in sort of getting used to the club, the league, and everything. So, I mean, you got Dyer there. He's clearly doing many things behind the scenes, James.
Andre, Eric Dyer should not be getting any plaudits for making Porro feel welcome. He shouldn't be getting any plaudits for, slowly transitioning him into the team or making him feel like he's part of Spurs. We employ Eric Dyer to be a solid centre-back and do defensive duties, not to be a HR, human resource body within Tottenham Hotspur. I'm sure we have human resource team at Tottenham. So I'm not going to hear any of the whole, Eric Dyer deserves credit for helping Porro. Brilliant. Well done for being a teammate. Well done for being a teammate and helping players into a team when they've joined from another country. That's what every player should be doing. Just because he singled out Eric Dyer doesn't then mean he should be staying at Tottenham Hotspur, in my opinion. Eric Dyer, for me, should be up there with the top 3-4 players that should leave. We know that he's probably not going to leave. And it'd be interesting to see what you guys think in the chat. But I've had enough of hearing about, Eric Dyer might come into this Tottenham team next season under Ange and be an absolute revelation. He's going to put his arm around him and be fantastic. No, Eric Dyer has not been good enough for years now. And we need to think as Spurs fans, what do we want? Would we rather get rid of Eric Dyer, even if he has some kind of leadership quality? Or do we want to get rid of Dyer and get in another player that's better than him in all avenues? Defensively, not making mistakes, quicker, younger, more eager. Dyer just chills out and knows that he's going to be in the fold at Tottenham at some point because we have nothing better than him. And that is the whole reason why we're still talking about Eric Dyer, because we haven't gone out and got more centre-backs. And that's why, great, we've got Solomon today out of the blue. Great, we got Maddison the other day. Fantastic. And great, we've signed Porro on a permanent. But let's now go out there and get some centre-backs and improve this defence and actually be proud of the defence we have behind these amazing attacking players. Because at the moment, it's an absolute shambles at the back. I'm buzzing of these signings. I'm the first player to say, amazing work, Levy. You got Maddison in for a pretty good deal, £40 million. But I'm not going to be happy if we get 2-3 weeks down the line and we haven't done anything about this defence. Because we can have the best attack in the world, the best attack in the Premier League. But if we haven't got a decent centre mid to go alongside Maddison behind, and we haven't got 2 decent centre backs, obviously we've got Romero, but I'd say we need a backup for Romero, and we need a left centre back, and I'd argue we need a left back as well, because I don't think Sessegnon's good enough. I don't think Perisic is good enough playing left back, and I don't think Reguilon's going to be in the fold. So I think we need a left back, a number 6, and 2 centre backs. This shopping list, in my opinion, just to go back quickly, should actually go on 2 more. It should go another left back and a number 6, in my opinion, because I don't think that 2 more centre backs is enough for this window. We're doing a great job now, but I genuinely believe we need more.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, technically, if you want to add to the shopping list, those 2 little spots there could be for the winger that is Kulusevski and the right back that is Pedro Porro. And I mean, we've spent a lot of money at this point. I believe around 130 million euros if you add them all together, right? You got 40 on Porro, 40 on Maddison, 30 on Kulusevski, 20 on Vicario. I could name more. Yeah, I mean, and then what? We got like 10 back for Winks. That's about it. 111 million pounds, more or less. It's a lot of money.
Yeah. You see,
So
you
I
think
don't
we've
know.
spent
I don't know if
111
if
mil?
we still have to sign 2 more center backs. I don't think we'll be signing a left back as well. And all these players you're talking about, I think that might have to be a winter transfer window.
Yeah, potentially. But yeah, you're right. But then it'd be interesting to see what the chat think on this one, because I said this to you the other day, didn't I, Andre? I don't think that the Kulusevski and Porro deal should count in our budget for this window, because technically last season, right, we were promised a war chest this time last year of 150 million pounds. The club came out with a statement and said we will spend 150 million pounds developing Tottenham in terms of transfers. And I'm pretty certain we didn't spend 150 million pounds. But then you could argue we had Kulusevski on a loan to buy, we had Porro on a loan to buy, and we had Romero on a loan to buy. So at the end, or obligation to buy, or whichever one you want to call it. So either that either that budget came out last year or it came out this year. Because I'd say you adding up 111 million could be argued that actually that money is just, we're paying it now, but it was from last year's budget. So I would actually argue we've only spent this summer so far. I say only, it's still pretty crazy. 40 million on Maddison, yeah, and Vicario,
Yeah.
which was around 18 to 20 million pounds, I believe. So call that 60 million pounds we've spent. Kulusevski the 28, 30 million. That was last season, in my opinion. We've just paid it now.
I don't
And
think
then
so.
the Porro one, you could probably argue more than the Kulusevski one, because don't forget Kulusevski came in January 2022 and Porro came in January 2023. So you could argue that the Porro money came in this budget, but I can't say that Kulusevski is this budget, because I think that's just ridiculous.
Well, I think when you loan someone, the whole point of loaning them, if you're going to sign them, is so they can be part of the next year's budget or the next window's budget. So I personally think it's come from this year's budget. Like the fact that we were arguing 5 million's worth of deductions on the Kulusevski deal, so that we wouldn't have to pay the 35 that we had agreed on if we had met Champions League, says to me that it's about this budget. It's about saving money on this budget so we can go and get more players. I think that we will get at least one more center back. I've been seeing some tier 3 reports that we're looking to get at least one center back, even though we all know we need 2. And we know the 2 we want. We want Van de Ven and we want Tapsoba. We need a good starting center back and we need a good backup center back. And I think that once you get those 3, then as you slowly get rid of the rest of the center backs that we have right now, I think we'll be okay. But I think all the stuff you're saying is correct in terms of what else we need. But getting them all in this window would be, I mean, we're not Manchester City. I don't think it's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason, good to see you. He's saying imperative that we get at least Tapsoba or Van de Ven over the line in this window. Not even asking for both at this point. I just want one, he says. Suko saying statement signing for a 90 million CDM like Paulinho. I just don't think Paulinho is worth 90 million. I do like him, but I don't think we should be paying that much money. That's crazy money. Nelson and either VDV or Tapsoba would be okay. Plus, I'd be looking for a very good number 6. Exactly. We need this number 6. Where is Porro going to play? This is another good question. Let's let me do a poll in the chat actually on this, because I think that he's going to try and put Porro at right back to start with, and then I think he'll get found out defensively, and then he may then try him as a right winger. But don't forget, with this Ange system, although it's a 4-3-2-1 or 4-2-3-1 can be fluid in terms of changing it slightly in game. Those inverted fullbacks, I don't see Porro being one of them. But then if we're playing the one where we keep the fullbacks wide, could Porro still play there? I just don't feel like he's got the defensive ability like an Emerson has. So it'd be interesting. I'm going to put in the chat now, guys, in the poll. I want everyone to vote. I'm going to put which position would you prefer Porro in? Because I think most people would rather see him at right wing, but then maybe some people don't want to see him at right wing because he's not an attacker. But Andre, I know you want to, while I'm doing that, I know you want to quickly go through the legalities of Solomon.
Yeah, just quickly before we get to that, I do think that he'll be good at right back. It just depends on what type of game we're playing, because I do think that he's played multiple. What is it? Not Porro. Sorry, Postecoglou plays different types of formations other than the 4-3-3, and at that point, that's where you decide: do you go with Emerson, who's a bit more defensively sound, or do you go with Porro, who's more attacking? Right, but I don't see him playing right winger at any point unless all
Yeah.
our right wingers are injured somehow. Um, and actually, even more so, it would just really depend on that. Like if we're playing a high line, I think a lot of the defensiveness will come in on Romero to do the work. And I'm sure he's going to talk to him and make sure that he doesn't do those rash tackles, pushing up all the time. And he's going to leave it up to Porro to push up instead. Because you've seen it last season. Romero would come up all the time, and then Porro would have to try and come back and deal with the situations when Romero would mess up sometimes, and it happens, right? So I think if you leave it up to Porro, it's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I put that in. I put that poll in the chat. Be interesting to see what everyone thinks. So far, it's quite split. 16 votes, and 53% have gone right wing and 47% right back. So I knew it would be a close poll. That's why. That's why I whacked it in. Big up view from the south stand, mate. Good to see you guys in here, Ashmatic and co. Hope you're very well. Lynch is saying Ange likes a defensive fullback and an attacking fullback in the starting 11. Exactly. So it does depend on the game. It depends who else is available, etc. Depending on other player availability, I think he'll cover both right back and right wing. He could almost be like almost like the pivot player, almost like the the versatile player in that side. Nitty and saying Lloris, Perisic, and Dyer surely have good market value in Saudi. Exactly. What's going on, Lloris? I thought he would have left by now. I think we're struggling to find a club for him. To be honest, I think we'll hear more about that in the next coming weeks. Maybe he can start in midfield. Don't see Porro being a midfielder, but maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And who doesn't have good market value in the Middle East? Exactly that. Guys, I've just whacked up a little notey. If you're still watching the stream, I mean, I think there's around 80, 90 of you watching on YouTube, which is incredible numbers. Please do smash that thumbs up button. It helps the channel massively, helps us to be able to do more videos like this every single day. And of course, subscribe if you're new. We're very close to 2,000 subscribers now, so it'd be good to get over the line as we then push on to. I want to push on to then 5,000, not the next 3,000, 4,000. I want to go to 5,000. So once we hit 2,000, we'll have a little celebration, Andre. But then we're on to the big milestones of 5 and 10 and etc. So all the Spurs relatables, as we like to call you guys, watching a massive part of that. So big yourselves up. Jason's saying, I wish we could mold Royale and Porro into one player. Exactly. Defensively of Royale and Porro's attacking play would have been incredible.
Yeah.
Porro, big up ADX1S. Always good to see you, mate. He says Porro can invert into a midfielder and defense. He did it for Sporting. Euro Expert even said this. Yes, he did when he was with us very recently. We have to get Euro Expert on about Solomon because I wonder if he knows a bit more about him as well. But guys, there's 100 of you watching. Crazy numbers. Big up the support tonight. Andre, do you want to quickly talk about this legality to do with Solomon because it is an interesting point?
Yeah, so I mean, it all starts with Annex 7, which FIFA sort of brought up when the situations happened between Ukraine and Russia, which basically allowed players to go on loan, to leave their club, and at no fee, right? And that's why Manor Solomon was at Fulham, and a few other players found other clubs. However, the little situation that happens here is that his contract will end by 2024. Meanwhile, FIFA has extended this sort of annex until 2024, meaning technically he can leave on a free earlier than when his contract actually ends. And that little section there is why Shakhtar is really like mad about it and they want to take it to court because they feel like there's this sort of, how would you say it, false enriching of taking advantage of this, which that's why they're mad about it. And they I think he says here, I have a quote where the CEO said, I would like to send a message to those clubs who are trying to sign our players without paying a transfer fee. Shakhtar will file claims for unjust enrichment against players or clubs who have enriched themselves and benefited by obtaining financial advantage. So
Right.
that is why they're really mad about this, because you've seen when they signed Mudryk, they paid a lot of money, or Chelsea paid a lot of money, but we are getting him for free because of that tiny little section there where by the time that the Annex 7 thing would need to be redone, his contract ends. So we're able to sign him for free technically, because even if he came to our club, by the time that year comes in, he's free. So that's where that little section comes in. That's why they want to sue them.
So do you think we've been a bit crafty about this one then?
Well, I think, Levy's many things, but I think he's done his homework to make sure that if this does get taken to court, it that will be fine. I can't imagine that we would put this much risk on this player in that way. So
Yeah.
I think we'll be fine. But do you think that this is worth the risk, what we've done here?
Like you said, Daniel Levy and his team would have done a lot of research about this, and this is probably why it didn't get done slightly before as well. Because don't forget, we were in talks with Solomon. We were talking about Solomon a few weeks ago. It went quiet on our transfer updates video, didn't it? And it's probably because they've been ironing out this legal side. I remember even someone from Shakhtar was reported by Fabrizio Romano saying he would take legal action on this. So that's why it was such a fine line to tread. And we've clearly assessed the situation, and it's been given the green light. Daniel Levy's not going to want to get involved in going to court, 100%. And I think he is a calculated risk now of very minimal, because there's no way we would have done this and it just suddenly backfires and we suddenly don't get Solomon. Obviously, it's not over the line fully and it's not been announced by the club yet. We've got to mention that. But it's a here we go from Fabrizio Romano, and I trust that pretty much 9 times out of 10. So I do believe this is going to happen, and I do believe Manor Solomon is going to be a Tottenham player. But it's come out of the blue, and I think the reason why is because we were calculating this legal side. Because Solomon maybe knew he was going to be a Tottenham player 2 months ago. But if they've done their homework and they've, really essentially found a loophole in this thing you just read out, then I think we've clearly pressed the green light, and we've clearly pressed the green button, and we're ready to go, right? So I think it's fine. Maddie saying Alex Scott. I would love to wait. I'd love to hear about some news about Alex Scott tomorrow. I really want to get him in as the backup number 10. And even he can play at the 8 as well. Big up, lads, says Zach. Zach, always good to see you in the comments, mate. What happened to the Esri concert links? I think they've gone a bit quiet. They've got Pau Torres as well now, Villa. So good.
Oh man, why mention him? I'm actually. You guys know how much I've been wanting Pau Torres to come to Tottenham. The fact that they didn't even have to pay the release clause is ridiculous. Let's.
Yeah, exactly. A good point from here from Cock 360. I mean, Levy did appoint Paratici, and yeah, he's not good with the law as well. Daniel Levy is guilty, putting him in prison immediately. Very good business, says Sebastian. Big yourself up, mate. Don't worry about Spurs getting in any trouble. There's a friendly in place. Also, that's a good point. We're playing Shakhtar in a friendly, so there's no way that goes ahead, right? And we're raising. Maybe that was part of it. Maybe that was genuinely part of softening the blow for Shakhtar Donetsk, because we've got a friendly with them at the Tottenham Stadium on, I believe, the 6th of August or maybe late July, and it's to raise money for the Ukrainian funds for the war, right?
Yeah.
So that would have been a massive sweetener in this deal, because there's no way we would be going ahead doing that if this wasn't sorted. This this transfer that's clearly very important in terms of the legalities.
Yeah. And I mean, even the legalities to an extent are very tricky, because even Fabrizio in his Here We Go tweet said, if all goes to plan with Shakhtar and FIFA rules, meaning this Annex 7 thing. And I want to highlight you quickly back to the article I was looking at from earlier in June when he spoke, or the CEO spoke, and he says, if you go to Tottenham, we will deal with Tottenham in court in this case. Everything comes to a simple situation. It sounds like unjust enrichment. So,
bloody hell. That is serious. That is serious stuff, really, isn't it? That really is serious stuff. I've just said serious stuff, and my Siri's gone off. Thought I said Siri, but there you go. Very well, almost a bit of a threat there from Shakhtar. There's a couple more questions I want to bring up, but Felix is asking where you buy a membership. So, if you're on laptop, next under the video, after you all smash like, because I know you've done that. Next to our little logo, SpursRelated, there's a join button. I'm bringing it up now. And it comes up, it says join this channel. And basically you get members only perks. So when we start getting more members, we'll be doing members only videos. And another thing is it's just to support the channel. I think it's as little as £2. And it goes an awful long way to help the channel. And as soon as we have, say, 10, 20 members, we'll start doing members-only videos, little exclusive news pieces, opinion pieces, and stats videos for you guys, as well as vlogs coming up. We're going to be doing vlogs of pretty much all the home games and some away games. So that's going to be really good. Jack is always involved in those vlogs, and they do really, really well. I think when Jack went to AC Milan, San Siro, he filmed all around Italy, he filmed all around the stadium, because obviously the San Siro is getting knocked down fairly soon. And I think that video got like 10, 15,000 views. So, yeah, we've got loads of different vlogs coming out as well. Basically, the membership is below the video. It says join. I think if you're on phone, it's somewhere around where it says like or something like that. Yeah. Rest in peace to San Siro. Jack saying Kagata can be on the dream panel today. Wimbledon tennis taking over. We'll let you off today, Jack. We'll let you off today, but I hope it's going well there, mate. Madsy saying, do you think we could get 100 million for all outgoings? What do you think, Andre?
I think it would just depend on who we sell, right? I think if we do sell Ndombele, Lo Celso, or Reguilon, those are the guys that are going to make us the most amount of money. But we'll see. I think that's very wishful thinking. Currently, we have 10 of those 100 million pounds. With Harry Winks, which again, that is why I'm actually leaving it open, because you and I, James, we did not think we'd get 10 million. We thought 2, 3 at max. And then Jack out there, knowing all the financials, I guess, just knew we would get a good amount for Harry Winks. So who knows? I'm sure there's a club out there that probably thinks Sanchez is the GOAT and will get him for about 10, 15 million as well.
I mean, if you're paying anything over 15 million for Davinson Sanchez, you've got your scouting wrong there. Nitin saying Amrabat, any news? Proper Højbjerg replacement. I would love Sofian Amrabat. I know Liverpool are wanting him, so I know there's potentially a challenge there. Derek saying 94 to 97 was our last Israeli player, to the best of my knowledge. I think Finn put this point out earlier. And he said the player that it was back in the day was I've lost it now, but there were maybe someone can tell me in the chat what the player was. Oh, Ronnie Rosenthal, I believe it was. So big up Finn for that comment.
Knowledgeable.
So Andre, going back to this comment here, 100 million. So. Sorry, how are we going to get 100 million out of these players? I don't even think we get 50.
Reguilon, I would say around 25 million.
How much is he going to go for? 15?
25.
25 million? No way. No way do we get 25 million for Reguilon.
Lo Celso, I'm going to say somewhere between 20 and 25 as well.
Yeah.
And Ndombele, somewhere between 20 and 25. Sanchez, somewhere between 10 and 15. And then Højbjerg will get us the most amount of money. I think 30, 35.
I think we could get 30 for Højbjerg. I'd say 10, 15 for Sanchez. That's 45. Who else is going to hold any kind of value? Reguilon's not going for more than 15 million. There's no way.
I'd say 20.
Okay, even if it's 20, that's 65 million, right? Then you've got, who else are you going to try and sell? You're going to try and sell.
Well, Lloris will probably also need some. He'll probably go for a bit.
Who?
Lloris, because he still got 1 year left.
Yeah, but minimal again. Minimal. Sukil's desperate for Paulinia. Trying to bring up the comment now. There we go.
Oh, so Kiel, you're reminding me of me
Bit
when
of
I really wanted Pau
lag.
Torres and it didn't happen.
Chris is saying this is
A bit of a surprise.
say again.
Yeah. It's a bit of a surprise signing, to be honest, under the radar. Nice one, Chris. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. I was eating when I got the little buzz on my phone and saw it, and I immediately called James. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah, exactly that. But going back to that poll, Andre, of Porro right wing or right back.
What is going on here? Sanchez at least 60 million? No. And Sanchez for 10 million? Well, yeah, I mean, I personally think that he's still got the pace. It's just finding the right league for him. So, but yeah. Yeah, I can hear you now, James. What happened?
Yeah, back. Right wing, right back. The debate. You know, we had the debate.
Yeah. Oh, for Porro, I still think right back. Yeah. What's the poll saying?
So 52% right wing, 48% right back.
So half and half, basically. Okay. So we'll leave it up to Postecoglou at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. Any final thoughts, Andre?
I mean, you know what? At the end of the day, I really hope Daniel Levy did his homework with this one, because it looks like it's risky based on all the courts sort of lingering there and all the FIFA rules, finding a little loophole in there. And I hope it doesn't come to bite us in the end. And in terms of him as a player, you know, I hope he does well for us. And if Ange Postecoglou gave the green light and said, yes, I want him, then I'm sure he's going to do great. So I'm excited to see what he brings to the club.
Yeah. Ismaila thinks Reguilon can go for 30 million. But yeah, I'm excited as well. Last question for the chat, and we'll maybe wrap things up, Andre. On a scale of 1 to 10, and you might have to do this banner for me, Andre, because my StreamYard started lagging. On a scale of 1 to 10, chat, how well do you think Manor Solomon would be? So number 10 would be 10, 15 goals maybe in a season, even off the bench, maybe say 8 to 10. A sort of 5 would be, he was all right, maybe like a Dan Juma, maybe not given too much of a chance. And a 1 is obviously horrendous. So I'm going to guess about a 6. The reason why I think he'll get 3 or 4 goals off the bench this season, and I think he'll be a decent backup and he can cause a threat off the bench. But I don't think he's going to set the world alight. And that's my genuinely honest opinion. I'm not going to start saying I think he's a 10 out of 10 signing. I think it's probably a 6, maybe a 7 that he could do. But it depends, obviously, how much game time he gets as well, right, Andre?
Yeah, I'm going to say if 7. It looks like very consistently he gets around 6 or 7 goals. Right, for Fulham, he got, I believe, 4. So, I mean, or sorry, 5, which is not that bad. But when you've got better players around you, I think he'll net around 6 goals. It just depends on what we do. I hope we don't give him the Dan Juma treatment and sit him on the bench the entire season. Give him some chance to play, give him the cups, and see how he does.
Yep, let's hear what the chat's saying. Absolutely loads of comments. Here we go.
Yeah, what do we got?
Nancy thinks 6. Jason thinks 7 out of 10. Urban thinks 5. Sebastian thinks 6. Finn thinks 6 or 7 if we play him a lot. Lynch says 5. I don't think he'll get much game time. Daiso thinks 7. If we don't play him, you can see him being like a 3, almost like a Dan Juma, not getting the chance.
Yeah.
He will get 8 goals, 6 assists, knitting. I would take that. I'd say that's a 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10 if he gets that.
Yeah, for free.
7 out of 10 says Chris. 6 out of 10 says Mark. He's going to be one of the attacks in. He's going to be one of the best attacks in the league. It's 7 if you know your football, says Smudger. Smudger, I think you know your football, mate. I would go with a 6 or 7. Zach's saying 7. So I'd say the average there is 6 or 7. A guy of his quality, says Preston, and a youthful age and a 3 is easily an 8 over. I think it's an 8 or a 9, maybe signing in terms of value, obviously free. Premier League experience, decent, still young. I'm more talking about how you think he'll do this season. I think it would be a 6 out of 10. We've spent
Yeah, I
121.
agree.
Yeah, you agree. You agree. 121 million spent this window. Pretty mad to think. But like I said, interesting signing, very interesting signing out of the blue. And I'm getting Andre telling me I'm lagging in the back end. So, Andre, do you want to quickly maybe take a couple more comments and then we'll maybe start to wrap things up?
Yeah, of course, of course. I mean, we've got 8 out of 9. 8 or 9 in that. We have spent 121 million in this window. That's exactly it. I was trying to do the calculations where I could, but I know there was somewhere pounds, somewhere euros. But yeah, we spent over 100 million. So that's a lot coming from Daniel Levy. So expecting him to drop the cash on a few more players is very wishful thinking, but we'll see. I think 2 center backs or at least one will do the trick, and then I think we'll be fine. This guy's hungry. Look at his mouth. Exactly. He seemed very passionate for Fulham. I can't imagine how passionate he'll be for Tottenham. So
there we go. There we go. Pretty good stuff. I've just looked at the stream. There's still 80 of you guys in here. Massive thank you for all the support tonight on this very out of the blue live stream. Hopefully we can do some more out of the blue live streams for you guys. We love interacting with you guys. We love seeing your guys' comments and your opinions. As I said before, if you do want to pick up a membership, it is below, I believe, £2, and it helps out massively. But what helps out even more massively is if you all smash this like button below, which is free. 64 likes. Join the 64 likes and get us to 100 likes. Subscribe if you're new. Let's get us to 2,000 subscribers this week. Let's see if we can do it. And, of course, share Spurs Related around with your mates. Guys, Manor Solomon to Tottenham Hotspur. Fabrizio Romano, here we go. It's going to be happening. Manor Solomon is going to be wearing a Tottenham shirt next season. Let's see how he does. Andre, thanks for all the stats and all the great analysis, other than that height one, which I'm sure people will still be questioning. But we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes on this stream plenty of times, so we can't all dig you out for that one, mate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know what? I usually read it 5 foot whatever, and I saw 1.7 meters, and I got hyped for a second, but that was way off.
Yeah,
my apologies, guys.
Yeah, it's all good. Much love, though, everyone in the chat. Really do appreciate you guys, honestly. And hopefully we see you again tomorrow on another video that we'll be doing. So stay tuned for that. Turn on your notification bell on the channel. It's easy to do so. Let me just quickly show you at the bottom there. When you're subscribed to the channel, that little notification bell right there. You turn it on and you get a notification exactly when our videos go live. And we're always putting them up daily around 7, 8 p.m. UK. So stay tuned for that. And guys, like I said, do all that good stuff. Like, subscribe, share with your mates. And we'll see you very soon. Remember, guys, come on, you Spurs!